Burlesque Stripped Down, episode number 5. Hello, once again, ladies and gents, this is Velvet Eau Claire, your guide through all of these secrets, the saucy secrets, and the sassy secrets, and the sexy secrets, and the not-so-sexy secrets of the ladies and gents behind the tassels. We are here today for yet another Interview Monday, and I have the beautiful Polly Pony Girl, one of my good friends from my personal troupe in Paris, Burlesque Moulin. She is here today to talk about her career, her performance career, her burlesque career, and lots of other things like that. So I'm super excited to talk with her. Before I jump into it, of course, a couple reminders. If you have not already, please head over into iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast. I would love to make a good showing over there on iTunes and get in good with the iTunes algorithms and all of that kind of stuff. And that can only happen with your support. So I really appreciate that. Also, please do share this podcast to your friends, your neighbors, basically just anybody you ever talk to in your life. Just tell them about this. It would be great to get the word out there so that we can really be reaching more ears and I can get loads of feedback. Speaking of feedback, of course, my email door is always open. Please email me with anything that you'd like to see on the podcast, velvet@burlesquestripdown.com. Always still looking for events to add to our weekly event roundup. It's a worldwide roundup as well. So if you've got an event coming up, please do send me some links to that so I can include that and feature it. It's free and it's easy to do. So those are the big ones. Subscribe, rate, and review, share, and send me some love. I need some email love in my life. All right? Promise? Great. I appreciate it. All right, let's get right into this interview because it is awesome. Hey again, everybody. I have Polly Pony Girl here today. We have a bit of a distance between us. It hurts my heart, but I am here actually in Orlando, Florida, recording right now, and Polly is all the way over in Paris, France, and I miss her dearly. But Polly is a good friend of mine. She's a fabulous burlesque performer. I'll tell you a little bit about her before we hand it over. Polly aims to create original, creative numbers, and they usually have a little element of humor. She likes to integrate all of her different skills. She's a great singer, clown, fire manipulation, hula hoop dance, and the coolest thing, horseback riding. Indeed, if you want to see a burlesque number performed with a real live horse, Polly is the lady you ask because she's the only one who does it, at least as far as she knows. She will take you on the ride of your life. That is probably my favorite intro, Polly. How are you doing today?
Great, thanks.
Awesome. Anything you want to add or tell us a little bit about yourself?
Like you said, I live in France, but I'm originally from California, which is why I don't have a French accent. But that's about it. I've been living in France for about 14 years now, so quite a while.
Yeah, your French is much better than mine. I've only got a year under my belt, so I'll get there eventually.
It takes time. It definitely takes time.
So we'll jump right into it. I just want to know, what is the one thing, whether it's personal, professional, burlesque, whatever, that you are the most excited about right now?
I'm really excited about my upcoming trip to the U.S., actually, because I'm going to be doing some performing in Chicago and in San Francisco, and I'll be teaching a workshop also in Chicago, and I'll be visiting my family, both extended family that I haven't seen in a really long time, close friends in New York, more family in California, and friends as well. So it's going to be a whirlwind trip, but really full and fun, and I'm really looking forward to it.
It's really cool. Yeah. It's how long are you going to be?
I'll be in the States a little over 3 weeks.
That's one of the cool things about burlesque, right? That we can kind of, even if we're taking a trip for personal reasons, we can try to add in some performances and meet new people and do workshops and all of that.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that drew me to acting from a very young age. And I realized later on, when I became really professional, that actually as an actor, you don't travel all that much. But as a burlesque performer, it's much easier to travel and integrate shows internationally and so forth.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. As an actor, some people I find that they find the right opportunities and they get to travel and do a lot. I have never had that experience with my with my acting. But you're right, with burlesque you can kind of choose. If you want to travel a lot, you can, and if you'd rather stay put, usually depending on where you are, you have opportunities for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think with acting, unless you have some sort of an opportunity where you're part of a touring show or you get really fabulous film roles and you're, traveling to shoot in exotic places, but those kinds of opportunities are very few and far between. But in burlesque, I think with burlesque, we create our own opportunities much more.
Absolutely. That's a really exciting aspect of it. All right, so here's a bit of a loaded question, but I want to know if you can think of one. What is the biggest misconception about you?
Oh, the biggest misconception about me. You know what it is? I think when people often first meet me, or for example, when I'm sort of in producer mode, because I do produce as well, and when I'm producing, I'm, organizing a show, and you have to be very organized and very clear about what's happening. And people sometimes think that I'm very serious or that I'm kind of strict or severe or something like this when they don't know me well. And then, of course, when they get to know me, they realize that that's not even at all true. I mean, I do take some things seriously, but ultimately, I have a pretty good sense of humor, I think, about pretty much everything in life, and very open-minded, so that's a big misconception.
I understand that feeling. I've always had a bit of people, maybe I come across, I have a bit of a resting bitch face, especially if I'm working on something really hard, or if I'm, like you said, when you're in producer mode, or if I'm in focused, work mode, comes across different, but really we're just focused, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think I get this expression when I concentrate where my eyebrows sort of knit and it looks like I'm angry, but I'm just concentrated.
Yeah, I have the same exact things. People are always like, what are you so mad about? I'm like, I'm not mad, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
So I want to know, we've talked a lot about our burlesque histories, but when and how did you really know that burlesque was right for you? Was there something specific that inspired you, a number or a performer or anything like that?
Honestly, I think it was when I saw the movie Tournée.
Ah, yes.
I think it may have been, I can't remember if it was when I saw that movie. Yeah, I think I saw that movie, and then I went to the Paris Burlesque Festival, shortly thereafter. And I thought, wow, how is it that I haven't thought of ever doing this before? Because it really brings together all of my skills and the things that I like, and having already modeled nude for art classes and so forth for years, and for photography, and just being really comfortable with my body and nudity and so forth, and also sensual and highly sexual roles, like playing prostitutes and things like this in movies and on stage. And so the whole sort of sexy, sensual thing was definitely something I was already very comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, performance, dance and theater and singing and so forth. And I saw burlesque and I just thought, wow, that's for me. That's like what I should be doing. So
it wasn't that far of a jump from some of the things you had already been doing. But one thing I love, and I think it's probably true for you as well, is that, with burlesque, we're in more control as a performer. You're not as dependent on the directors. I mean, you're still dependent on finding producers and things like that to put it on, although you can create things yourself as well. But with acting and other types of performance, you're more dependent on finding the right opportunities, like you said earlier, instead of creating them.
Absolutely. And that is definitely something I have discovered with burlesque, because when I first started doing burlesque, that's not really what drew me to it. I didn't realize to what degree burlesque gives me this amazing creative freedom. Because it's this creative freedom not only to create numbers and use whatever skills I happen to feel like on with that whatever theme I happen to want to work on, and with that whatever music. I mean, it's really my own creation from A to Z, but also the freedom to integrate other shows, to travel. So it's a really amazing, liberating art form, I think, for a performer.
Absolutely. And plus, it's just so much fun. It's fun.
It is. And it's really liberating, too, because you liberate yourself from your clothing.
Yeah, exactly. Liberating in all sorts of ways. So do you have a particular hero, whether it's, whether it's burlesque related or more in your personal life?
I don't have one particular hero. I tend to really admire people who really go for their dreams, I guess, and make their dreams happen. People like Vani Hari, the food babe, I really think she's just amazing and fabulous because she has created a business out of her passion and yet at the same time is changing the world and trying to make it a better place. People like that are amazing.
Where do you usually find inspiration for your acts when you're in creation mode?
Oh, inspiration can really come from anywhere. I mean, sometimes I get an idea for a number from a piece of clothing or a piece of music that I hear, or perhaps it's a theme. There's a show that I want to participate in and there's a specific theme for it. Perhaps a prop of some kind that I want to use, or a new skill that I want to work on and integrate into a number. Really, ideas can come from anywhere, or something I want to say, some kind of a message I want to get across. Ideas can really come from anywhere, but then I've noticed there's sort of an incubation period between the idea and then actually putting the number together, because between the idea and the full number there's quite a bit of thinking and creating and
yeah, I think that's the great word for it, incubation. You know, it really, at least for me, and I think for a lot of us performers, it really kind of sits in your head for a while, and you just kind of mull over it, and you're thinking about it, and it just kind of sits there until you do the active creation. Maybe not for all performers. I'm sure some people get an idea and act on it right away, but for some of us, I think that's very true.
Absolutely, and I mean, I have so many ideas.
True.
That I wouldn't have time to put them all into action right away anyway. So sometimes I write them down. I write down my ideas, and then I just sort of wait until either I have time or an opportunity presents itself when that particular idea would be good, would fit well into a particular show or
absolutely.
Time.
I have an app that I use on my computer because I have a million projects going on and my brain is so scattered. So I have this app on my computer and it has an area called the parking lot where you can just put like lists of ideas and just kind of what they call a brain dump, right? Get everything out of your head so you actually have it all written down. So I have an area there for burlesque numbers. And where I just will write, like I have in there right now, I have something with suspenders. I really like suspenders. I really want to use suspenders. And
good idea.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm sure it's been done a million times, but you got to do something fun with it. And I always think about a couple months ago when our troupe was asked to perform, when actually you had the context for a private party, right? And we had about 48 hours, right? Between when you asked us if we wanted to do it and when we were performing. So I went to that little parking lot area and I said, okay, what do I got? What can I do in 48 hours to put together? But it's nice sometimes when you have that little push, and because otherwise things could, I'm sure suspenders will stay in the parking lot for a good long time.
Absolutely. It is necessary to have that push for sure. I mean, and similar thing happened to me. Well, it wasn't quite so short, but I had this idea for this number with blue suede shoes, and I had the opportunity to put the number together and make it actually happen when we did the festival, the Tattoo and Custom Festival in the summer. So, yeah.
Well, and I love that about burlesque, that it's a really, the numbers are living things too. You can, it's not like a play, a performance where you have all this time to prepare and then you do it. Maybe you get your run extended, probably not, and that's it. This is something that really is living, so you can put something together in 48 hours or a week or whatever. And if it goes well, great. And if there's things you want to change, you can still change it to use it for the next time around.
Absolutely, and I think burlesque numbers do and should continue to improve and evolve on every level, including the costumes, the choreography, the audience interaction, the comedy or the acting in it, all of the elements that go into making up whatever the number is. I think they can all constantly be improved and modified and expanded
Absolutely.
on.
Now, I want to change gears a little bit because, of course, we like to get really raw and real. I want to know who you are, Polly Pony Girl. So, can you tell us what has been the worst moment of your burlesque journey, or if you want to go a little broader, your performance journey in general?
I'd say burlesque has been a really good journey for me so far. So, I really think of a horrible, like a worst moment really at this point. But in my performance career, I think the worst time I had was when I was working at the Wild West show. I mean, I still work at the Wild West show in Disney Village, and I ride a horse. I play Annie Oakley in that show. And the first year I was working there, one of the horses I rode, for some reason, decided that he didn't want to lie down anymore, because there's this scene where I ride into the arena and I have to make the horse lie down. And this horse, he just refused to lie down, and I couldn't make him do it, especially, in front of guests, in front of the audience and everything. It's quite difficult you can't really discipline a horse in front of people during a show. It's quite complicated. And the horse figured this out. And during rehearsals, he would lie down just fine. But then during the show, he would just refuse. And it was just, and all of the cast members backstage, most of them were like really unsupportive and really like critical. And anyway, it just created this whole huge issue for about a week. And then they ended up having one of the other Annie Oakleys ride that particular horse and gave me a different horse. And then she was able to change that bad habit. And then I was able to ride him again, and it was fine. But that was a really horrible, stressful moment of massive performance and anxiety. And I remember having, bad dreams about it.
Yeah, I can imagine that really kind of gets into your psyche a little bit. Did you discover that like during a performance? Did it happen like in the middle of it and suddenly he wouldn't do anything?
Yeah, it was just like one day, I rode him into the show, and at the moment when I was supposed to have him lie down, I asked him to lie down and he wouldn't do it. So I asked him some more and he still wouldn't do it, and he basically just was refusing to do it. And I just kind of ended up going like, oh, well, I'll just continue with the scene. That was it.
Absolutely. I mean,
maybe I don't have to lie down.
There's nothing she can do about it.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's true, especially when you're working with live animals like that, I imagine, because the phrases that you use, you're asking them to do something, right? We're not, you're never making another animal do anything. And they have minds of their own. Sometimes they just don't want to do it.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, you have to be really ready to kind of roll with things. I think about that same private party we were doing when you were doing your beautiful act on the horseback, and it happened to be at the exact same time there were some fireworks in the town nearby, right?
In the same town, yeah.
In the same town, yeah, that's true. And you just have to roll with it and kind of try to make it work, even though the horse is a bit spooked, right?
Absolutely, and that is the big challenge with working with doing shows with animals, is that you often have to improvise, because animals will not always do what you hope and think they will, and there are often exterior elements that perturb whatever you so carefully rehearsed.
Absolutely. Was there anything particular that you kind of took away from that experience at the Annie Oakley show, or when you were playing Annie Oakley? Did it teach you anything, or?
Yeah, I think it taught me that, that you just have to be really perseverant, and that's, sometimes it's good, it's okay to ask for help as well, because when the other lady who had a lot more experience as Annie Oakley than I did took on the horse, and she was able to change that issue. And also that, I'm responsible for my performance, and other people are not out there on the horse. They're not doing the same thing I'm doing. So, all of the judgment and criticism that I was getting from the cowboys and the Indians and so forth, and the other cast members, I've learned now to really not pay any attention to their bullshit criticisms, because they don't know what it's like. They don't know how to do my role. They've never done it, so they can't judge because they're not in my shoes.
I love that. I think that's a really important lesson. I think we all kind of learn in different times in our lives, or we have to learn anyways, to really, really internalize that we're doing this, and if other people are judging it, it's like Taylor Swift says, haters gonna hate, you know? But they don't really, if they're not really in doing what you're doing, it's hard. Like, you can't take it to heart because they don't know what you're going through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. I think that'll be the first and last time that I ever talk about Taylor Swift on this podcast, just for the record. Okay. So that was kind of the worst moment, even though some good things kind of came out of it. Do you have a particular best moment, particularly of your burlesque journey?
You know, I had a really good moment, really not too long ago, just a couple weeks ago. I wasn't actually a performance. I was teaching a one-on-one private class for these American ladies who were visiting Paris. And I had two classes in the day. And one of them was, a mother. She'd been in the military. She was like a mother of 3 and in her probably early 40s, I would guess. And the other one was also a mother of 2 and probably in her early 50s. And they both had wanted to do this burlesque. Well, it was kind of a surprise for them to do this burlesque introduction kind of one-on-one class. And both of them ended up crying because they were so touched by finally accessing their sensual beings.
Wow.
So
that's amazing. That's really cool that you were able to experience that with them and see how. Wow, that's really, really neat.
And I think for me, performance, whether it's performance or giving sort of classes like that or whatever, but that's really what my purpose is to be able to transmit, to help people, in fact, to help people be more themselves, to help people access parts of themselves that maybe they, usually deny or suppress, and to help people really become more themselves and happier and more fulfilled and so forth. So.
Absolutely. And it's easy to kind of get distracted by all of the, pardon my French, bullshit that goes along, right, with performance and with booking gigs and dealing with fellow performers and trying to figure out your music and dealing with the choreography and all of that, or even bigger in any performance, going on auditions and things like that. It's easy to get so distracted and forget.
Too.
Yeah, and trying to survive. There's that as well. But really, yeah, when you boil down to it, you've got to remember those moments when you really affected somebody. See, I'm getting a little choked up already. Yeah. When you really affect somebody in your audience, when you really see that you changed somebody's mind or you made them think about things in a new way, and that's what this is all about for most of us, I think.
Yeah, well, I would hope so. I mean, it's certainly what it's about for me in any case.
Yeah, I'm not sure too many of us are doing this for the money. But
well, probably not for the money.
Maybe to take off our clothes on stage, because that is always fun. So there's that. But excellent. Well, what do you think? What is the biggest risk that you've ever taken?
Probably the biggest risk I've ever taken was the first year I came to France when I was 18, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't speak the language. And I had like a fille pair job, which didn't work out after like a few months. But I stayed in France for a year and learned French and made friends and street performed and went on an adventure in Spain and Portugal and France. And that's when I also started modeling for art classes and for photographers. And I think that year, just coming to France was a big risk, but then pretty much everything I did that year, I think, was a huge risk.
All right, now our next little section here is a bit of a surprise, right? So this is what the section I like to call Pick Your Poison. What I have here is I have 8 questions, just a chance for us to kind of get to know the real you a little more, just for fun. And I have 8 different questions, but I'm only going to ask you to pick one of them. So I just need a number from 1 to 8.
4.
Number 4. On a scale of 1 to 10, how lucky do you think you are, and why?
I'd say probably 8.
An 8.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell me where you came with that number.
Well, I think I'm pretty lucky in general. I mean, I don't really actually believe in luck, honestly. It's a concept I don't really believe in, but lucky, I guess, in the sense that I think I've figured out my path well enough that things go fairly smoothly for me. And I have a lot of amazing friends and a great family. And I make a living doing what I love, which is amazing. So
yeah,
I guess I don't think any of that is due to luck, actually.
Well, it's kind of funny. That's actually one of the reasons I like to put that question in there, just to kind of see. I like to see where people's mindsets are. Is it luck? Is it work? Is it, where does that all fall in?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of it is work. I think a lot of it is, trying to be somebody who is kind to other people and helpful, and that's helpful in terms of having friends and stuff.
Sure.
And I mean, I guess the only element of luck would really be being born into a really nice family in a fairly rich country and having a great childhood. I mean, that I guess is maybe luck or destiny or something.
Sure. Certainly we have an element of maybe not luck, but being fortunate, right?
Yeah.
To be in the society that allows for us to pursue the things that we love in these ways, especially as women, and also to have this, a supportive family or, whatever situation you might be born into. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I had a really good start, and that's given me a basis for continuing fortune, I guess.
Fabulous. Great. Well, before we wrap this up, I also have another little section I like to call This or That. So these are just silly questions that really don't tell us anything about burlesque, but they're still cool. And so I'm just going to go through. We're going to do a quick fire, and I'm going to give you 2 choices, and I want you to pick which one.
Okay?
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Pizza or pasta?
Neither. I'm gluten-free.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Okay, so neither one.
Or pizza, I guess.
Let's say
pizza if it's gluten-free pizza.
Okay, there you go. That'll work. Day or night?
Night.
City or country?
Country.
Mountains or ocean?
Mountains.
Classic or neo-burlesque?
Neo.
Comedy or tragedy?
Comedy.
Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
Sleep or sex?
Sex.
Top or bottom?
You
can interpret this in any way you choose.
Top.
Heels or bare feet?
Bare feet.
And lastly, the big one, coming from a California girl, Paris or San Francisco?
Paris.
There's probably a reason you're still there.
Yeah.
All right, very good. I always forget to say at the beginning that you can interpret them any way you like. Do you have a specific, I know that one thing about the burlesque community, and it's kind of the reason that I've started this podcast, is I find that a lot of burlesque is kind of all over the place as far as information on the internet, and there's a lot of different groups or different things. Not all of them are updated. So how do you usually stay current on burlesque news?
Oh, I'm really bad about staying current on any news, burlesque or otherwise. But I guess mostly Facebook.
Are there any specific communities or people that you follow on Facebook that you can think of?
Well, I follow most of the burlesque shows and groups in Paris area, obviously. And I have plenty of burlesque friends kind of all over Europe and the US who I follow or who follow me or whatever. I mean, we
your friends
on Facebook. So I sometimes get their feeds or whatever, but yeah, that's about it.
Great. And I know a lot of us like to continually be finding new videos to watch and new things like that. Do you have any YouTube videos or any specific videos, acts that you've seen that we should check out?
Oh, I did find an act that a video of an act that I thought was really interesting the other day. I think I posted it on our Burlesque Moulin page, though. It was something like Pony Girl Burlesque or something. I was looking up pony burlesque. I was just wanted to see if there was anybody else in the world who does burlesque on horseback like I do. And I ended up coming across this video of girls dressed as horses in a stable doing a burlesque dance. It was quite lovely.
Oh, that's great.
To do with what I do.
But still great.
But it was great.
No, that's perfect. Well, I'll take that. I'll get the link from you after we hang up here, and then I will put that along with some other notes from the show into our show notes page. So if you're listening to this and you're curious about more, you can just go to burlesquestripdown.com and search for Polly in the search bar, and you'll come across her show notes page, or if you're in iTunes, there's a notes page as well right there. And you'll have a link directly to that, so you can see this awesome video of girls dressed like horses in a stable doing burlesque. Nothing weirder than that, just doing burlesque. So last but not least, before we say goodbye, tell us how we can keep up with you or get in contact with you if we're interested in learning more.
Well, I do have a Facebook page, obviously, Facebook fan page, so that's easy.
Okay, that's just Polly Pony Girl?
Polly Pony Girl. It's a fan page. You can like the page, follow the page, whatever. Also, I now have a website, which is pollyponygirl.com. So I'm going to try and keep that fairly well updated with news. And there are plenty of photos and presentations of all of the different numbers I do and so on and so forth. And, of course, you can also check out my company's website and Facebook page, which is Burlesque Moulin. .fr, which is the website, or Burlesque Moulin fan page on Facebook.
Yes, I will have all of those linked up in the show notes pages, and I will say you should definitely check out at least Burlesque Moulin, because we're all involved in that, in the company and the troupe. Lots of good stuff. If you're going to be in Paris, definitely come check us out as well.
For sure.
Cool. All right. Well, Polly, is there anything else you want to share with our lovely listeners today before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered all the bases. Just if you happen to be in Chicago around the 14th, I'll be performing for Godzilla, and if you're in California, I am performing in San Francisco on the 18th with Red Hot's Burlesque, and on the 23rd with Hubba Hubba.
And those are all in November, correct?
Those are in November, yes.
Okay, perfect. I was thinking about getting up to Chicago, but I don't know if I'll be able to get there until December, so I might miss you.
Oh, I was thinking about getting down to Orlando, but it's already such a whirlwind
It's hard.
trip.
The United States is so big, it's not like you can just pop around places.
It really is, yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much, Polly, for being on the show, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you, Velvet.
And there we go, Miss Polly Pony Girl, fresh out of Paris, and she will be in the United States. So if you are in Chicago next weekend, this is the weekend of the 14th of November, 2015, she will be in Chicago, the week after that in San Francisco. So if you are around in one of those areas, definitely head over to her show notes page at burlesquestripdown.com/Polly, Polly. And you can find links to those events and check her out there. You can tell her that you heard about her on Burlesque Strip Down. And then definitely be spreading the word. As I mentioned in the little intro, please tell your friends about this and head over to iTunes, listen over there as well. And email me. I want my email love. All right, coming at you on Thursday with yet another Hot Tips episode. So until then, I hope that you all make sure to stay sexy.